Hey,
Maybe.
will you allow a compliment? Can I give those on the program?
Go right ahead, pal. Go ahead, Greg.
So I want to go ahead and love on you a little bit because Lord, you need all the help you can get with them Titans. But thankfully, somebody sucks worse than y'all, and it's the Panthers. And y'all picked up a win over the weekend.
Yes, sir.
I know Cody was happy because the Steelers beat the Bengals, but at this point, who ain't beat the Bengals? And it was really, really good news for our friend Tony Khan. Man, what a nail biter against the Texans, but they pulled it off. It's like the Jags have a golden horseshoe at their butt this year, dude.
They're rocking. They're Doug and the crew. You can tell a well coached. To me, you can tell a well coached team. They don't beat themselves. Titans have beat themselves, and I'm not saying Ravens. Anyway, we're getting into NFL talk, but you know what? I saw him today with my own two eyes, and this him pronouns pal. It's a reality. It has come to fruition. Joe Burrow on the sidelines. What did he have in his hand, Conrad?
Clipboard. Oh, Clipboard Joey on Twitter. Give him a follow right now. It's at Clipboard Joey. I have it on. Oh, there it is. I appreciate the shout out from at Hey it's Conrad on at MyWorld5. But when my wrist heals up, I'm looking at real Jeff Jarrett's ass.
Oh my gosh!
I can't wait until AEW rolls into Cincinnati.
Now let me ask you this:
bust him up with a guitar.
do you think our pal Abyss is running that account?
No, there's no chance. I don't think he's allowed to tweet.
Well, maybe not under Chris Park or Joe Park or Parkin Park or Abyss or Monster Abyss or any of that.
Oh, come on now. He's the groundhog of wrestling. He pokes his head up every now and again, sees his shadow, and runs for shelter. Hey, here's who didn't run for shelter. The Alabama, by God, Crimson Tide doing the Lord's work.
Oh, boy.
Hating you folks, getting that 6-star match. I never had a doubt, never a concern. What we were doing, Jeff, was luring him into what I would call a false sense of security.
It's called a false finish.
It's a false finish, and boy, you could just hear a pin drop in that stadium. Alabama came in like Darth Vader. The evil empire was here, and they took over. And I don't care what Indian burial ground is here in Auburn. Old Jordan Hare Stadium. A lot of crying, a lot of sad faces. It's like watching Jeff Jarrett match in 95. A lot of booze.
Seriously. Bro, men, women. Right. I mean, yes. None.
Now here's the thing. I don't, as you know, I don't care. I want the SEC to do well. I really want Alabama to beat Georgia this weekend. I don't know that they can. I hope they can. But if Georgia goes on, I hope they just mop the floor with everybody. SEC forever.
So folks, say this real quick. It's at the end of the game. What's Alabama getting beat? What's the score right there before?
Alabama is down 4 points.
Yeah. Alabama is down 4. Third down. The QB who got taken earlier in the year, back rolling, rolls right, he rolls left, he rolls right, he rolls left, runs up, throws the ball, but he had already passed the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
On third down, it was a major play.
Yeah, it started as first and goal, and on second down, the snap goes so far back.
Lost 17 yards on the play.
And now there's another penalty because he threw it past the line. So now it's fourth and goal from the 31 yard.
The announcer, Nestler, it's fourth and forever.
Yes. They ran the math on it, and they said statistically, Auburn had a 99.9% chance.
No way.
There was 1 in 1,000 chance that Alabama pulls it off, and Auburn pulls a prevent. They do not pressure Jalen Milroe. He has all day. Chucks it up in the back corner. I guess they practice it. Down it comes, touchdown, and the crowd goes total silence. Not here in my household. My dad let out a shriek. I mean, it was like Karen saw the skunk. That's what my dad was doing.
Oh Oh, let's not talk about skunks and raccoons. I don't want to give you the update on that. But Conrad, we always kind of tie this back into wrestling.
It was a false finish, man. It was great. Two and three quarters.
But he threw the ball literally in the only, like, in a 2x2 square.
Yes.
Anywhere else, it wouldn't have worked.
Not happening.
When they scored, the silence in the stadium.
Unbelievable.
In the old school, you know what they call that? Let me ask you. I'm wondering if you've ever heard this term.
When it gets quiet, it gets dangerous.
That's called either white heat or quiet heat.
Yes.
When back in the old days, when you did excuse my language, a fuck finish, not a screw finish, but if you really did the right screw finish, the heel went over, and it's almost justifiable. But he does just a little something that was dirty snitches. But anyway, I've heard really good descriptions of all this. And this happened, and this happened. And they did this one night and all this. But when the 1, 2, 3 happens, there's not a cheer, there's not a boo. It's really quiet. And the old school heel will tell you, get to the dressing room immediately because a ride's coming. I used to be fascinated to kind of hear different stories. You would hear, and a lot of times, of course, wrestlers, they hand me down stories that may be embellished. But anyway, the different deal is that's when stabbings would happen. That's when just lock the dressing room door, let it cool off, maybe not leave right away, or anyway, all that kind of stuff. So the quiet heat, you Bama boys.
It was unbelievable, man. What a day.
It was a rivalry week, man. Ohio State, Michigan, and we saw our chatter online, and some of you Big Ten folks getting a little unraveled on. I still call it Twitter, but on X that get all.
No, we're gonna call it Twitter forever. Hey, we got to get to our topic. We've been talking forever, and we haven't even talked wrestling or what our topic is. But before we go, I want you to pick some games.
Oh my gosh!
No lines, just pick winners. Oregon or Washington?
Oregon.
Wow. Okay. Florida State and Louisville.
Oh gosh, Louisville. They deflated from yesterday. Wildcats, Kentucky ended up beating them. What a disaster! All the way, Florida State.
Even with the backup.
Yeah.
Value target.
Iowa, Michigan.
I love that term.
Have you seen the latest line on this? And this is the Big Ten championship. It is such a lopsided game going in. They're picking Iowa State to only kick 2 field goals, not even a touchdown.
Not Iowa State, Iowa.
Iowa, yeah.
Oklahoma State, Texas.
Got to go hook and horns. Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Last one. Number 1 Georgia in the
now.
Georgia Dome, the Mercedes-Benz Dome, against Alabama, number 8.
I'm going to share my thing I heard today at church about my definition of culture.
Okay.
Because I think it's appropriately for Mr. Saban. Because I just think, and nothing against the dogs. Culture is created by the positive actions that are celebrated and the negative actions that are tolerated. And Saban, I don't think anybody would argue, even the most diehard fan or the critical folks or whoever it may be, it is not by far his most talented team. And yesterday, it's crazy to even say, well, because Auburn played an egg the week before. I got a feeling that Saban has been preparing for this game, well, maybe since the first game of the season. I just find it hard to pick against Saban this year. I don't think Georgia has the 27-year quarterback this year. They've got good players. They're dominant. They're interior on both sides of the ball. I just find it hard. I'm going Roll Tide. I really am, Conrad.
Wow, I didn't expect that. Well, listen, that's what I'm hoping for as well. It's going to be interesting to see how the playoffs shake out. Obviously, a lot's riding on Oregon and Washington and Alabama and Georgia. I don't know, man. I think Louisville might be able to get it done against Florida State. I'd like to speak that into existence. And
Okay.
I'm really curious what happens with Oklahoma State and Texas. So it's going to be a fun week, and we're glad that you're getting your week started off with us here. But I do think it might take a little bit of a miracle for Alabama to wind up in the national championship game. But thankfully, we don't need a miracle when it comes to giving the best present you can give this holiday season. Of course, I'm talking about Miracle Made sheets. This is something that everybody wants. If you've got somebody in your life who's hard to buy for, let me go ahead and recommend you give them the best gift you can give, the gift of better, cleaner sleep. Let me explain. These sheets were inspired by NASA. They're silver infused, and that silver acts as thermoregulating. It's going to keep them at the right temperature all night long. So if they sleep hot or cold, man, this is perfect for them. They're going to get more restful, restorative sleep. Not only that, it's also cleaner. Did you know that your toilet seat might actually be cleaner than your sheets? You see, you spend so much of your time in that bed on those sheets, and there's skin on there, and there's sweat on there, and that's the reason you start to get stuffy noses when you wake up. Or maybe you have some acne on your skin. It's your sheets. Well, the silver infused in these Miracle Made sheets kills 99.9%, or prevents rather, 99.7% of bacterial growth. That's going to leave these sheets cleaner and fresher 3 times longer than other sheets. So not only will you sleep cooler or warmer, whatever you prefer, you get that even temperature, so you're not hot or cold, and it's cleaner. And oh, by the way, they're as luxurious as like 5-star hotel sheets. It's the perfect gift for your spouse, your friends, your family. Who doesn't want luxurious bedding? Who doesn't want a better night's sleep? And these come with 3 free towels, so you get like 2 gifts in one just in time for the holidays. More importantly, man, just stop sleeping on bacteria. It's going to clog your pores. And I just love Miracle. I think you will too. Go right now to trymiracle.com/myworld. That's trymiracle.com/myworld to try it today or gift it to someone special this holiday season. We've got a special deal for our listeners. Save over 40%. And if you use our promo code MyWorld at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. As a matter of fact, Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/myworld and use the code MyWorld to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/myworld to treat yourself, a friend, or a loved one this holiday season.
Looking for the right holiday outfits without breaking the bank? JCPenney is a one-stop shop for the whole family. Whether you're dressing up or dressing down, JCPenney has a great range of apparel for men, women, and kids. So you could spend less time doing this and more time doing this. Make your holidays count. JCPenney. Shop in store or jcp.com.
Jeff, our topic today, man, we're finally here. We're like an hour into the damn show.
Sorry.
Well, we had a lot to talk about.
Holiday weekend, man. And this is maybe for next week. Conrad, did you know raccoons are one of the smartest?
Oh, my God.
I kid you not. Okay, I'll leave it at that.
Sure.
But raccoons are smart. Skunks, maybe not so much. Man,
You Elmer Fudd motherfucker.
it is really a journey around here.
You're out here hunting rabbits and raccoons and skunks, but if you had a turkey, you'd let him go. I mean, I just...
Stop it. Let's roll.
If it was up to... Is Cody dictating the Thanksgiving menu? Is that really what we're talking about? Because if it's up to him, y'all are going to have Swiss cake roll casserole next year.
If you only knew, pal. If you only knew.
We had a lot of fun talking about your run in 1998. This is the Don't Piss Me Off era. It's a gear change. It's a little bit of a shift for your character. And we've seen some of that recently. And I know we don't talk about current stuff, but for instance, Luchasaurus became Kill Switch.
Yep.
And maybe once upon a time, with the pairing with Jungle Boy, you know, the boy and his dinosaur, that made sense. But now, it's time for a new look, or as Bruce calls it, a fresh paint of coat. So Luchasaurus is now Kill Switch, but way back when, Double J is going to become this new edgier, shorter haircut, different tights, guitar, Deborah. It's a whole new presentation. So if you missed sort of part one of this discussion, it's available in the archives. That's My World on YouTube.com. Check that out, My World on YouTube.com. But on Raw, you're going to wind up taking on Goldust and Owen Hart, who's recently announced he's retiring, unless he's fighting Ken Shamrock or Dan Severn. Otherwise, he's retired from in-ring action. He's going to join for commentary. Deborah's going to put your foot on the rope after Goldust hits his finish, the curtain call. Eventually, Deborah's going to tease Goldust. Owen jumps in and attacks. It's a DQ again. But check this out. The Blue Blazer comes out to help in the attack, but instead, the Blue Blazer attacks Owen. He unmasks, and it's Steve Blackman. This is a little silly, but kind of fun. Is this old school Memphis right here, do you think?
Well, you know what I was going to say, and I didn't want to interrupt you earlier. We were talking about Allstate Arena. That is the location of Owen Hart's last match. I will always remember that for a lot of reasons. Steve was right. It's just got a different vibe to it. The United Center and Wintrust, well, all over the world, they're just different vibes. Also, I still call it Horizon. It's always got a really cool, unique vibe to it. But as you kind of said, we got into this last week, but getting into the Attitude Era, when you look at me and I'll say Owen too, as heels, we and I had the Double J and Tennessee Lee, and we had Southern Justice. We had actually, and this is another little footnote. While me and Robert were together, and I was still doing Double J with the long hair, I think, and I don't know if there were matches, but there were talk about putting those guys prior to the haircut. We were going to, that had been talked about for, I don't say a long time, but quite some time. But when we got into this Blue Blazer story, he really was the anti-attitude character. That Blue Blazer was a knight in shining armor coming to, it wasn't ever said, but it was kind of the mentality of Russo and Ferrara and Owen, and here's going to be this character that doesn't like anything about the current direction of the Attitude Era with Val Venus and Godfather and DX and Stone Cold and just everything going on. And so when I got the haircut, Don't Piss Me Off, did the vignette, that was kind of headed down one road. But as a part of that was this Blue Blazer Owen Hart story. And as you just said, getting Steve Blackman kind of integrated, because that was another character that I would not say, this is debatable and it's subjective, but he didn't have, he was, what was he? Lethal Weapon? His was MMA oriented, but there wasn't, we'll call it the attitude like the other characters were. So when you kind of look at this and him fitting in and a lot of times it was, like a lot of things that are all Raw, they were just a 1 or 2 week program and weaving in and out, because Steve and DX were the main threads on every show, and Taker.
We should also mention that this is a different era for you. I mean, you sort of teased it and talked a little bit about it at the top of the show, where you said you've spent almost all of your career as a heel, but now as soon as you're like opening forward hits, you get a pop. And I'm wondering, is that because they recognize that there's a chance you're gonna hit a dude with a guitar and give him a new necklace, or how much of that pop do you contribute to puppy mania, for lack of a better word?
So the first 7 years of my career were all babyface, but it was the territory, Tennessee, 80% of that, Texas, a little bit of Puerto Rico and here and there. But as I had gone into the Double J character with the vignettes, and Bruce kicked that bad boy off and all that, that had run from basically 93, and I did the Horseman stop in WCW, but back in '97, and that just didn't fit in the Attitude Era. And then when we kind of morphed over into the Don't Piss Me Off, I think in that era, it was because you kind of look at. I just used Godfather Barbados, but when people's music would hit, there wasn't, and I'm sure there were a few, but the defining heel characters of massive boos, I'd have to say the chairman, Vince. I'm trying to think of other big heels. There weren't a lot. So I think it's a combination of all the above. That the puppy era, the guitar shot era, and we're going to be entertained. Even in AEW today, Conrad, that our music will hit, and we'll kind of get that. I don't want to call it a babyface pop, but and then as you start down the aisle, it's so. I just think it's kind of anticipation pop. I don't know. That's a good subjective conversation to have, because I think if you polled 100 people, you're not going to get anywhere close to 100% on while they pop together.
Well, let's talk about something that was popular at the time, but maybe with the benefit of hindsight, we didn't really, I don't know. What did you think when The Undertaker and Paul Bearer tried to embalm Steve Austin? I mean, as a fan at the time, this is the era where I was like, okay, I'm kind of done. like when he finally became the American Champion, I thought it was overdue. I was ready for it. Certainly respect his in-ring work. His matches were always fun. His character work, but when we're going to threaten and embalm the dude, what do you think? Is that too far? I mean, the reason I bring this up is, and you talked about it, the rest of the country, like even Bruce would, he's a Houston guy. So he'd always talk about, oh, that's that Memphis stuff. That's that Memphis wrestling. We're embalming dudes in the New York character. That's more Memphis than Memphis ever. I don't think there was ever an embalming angle. What do you think of that?
So, Conrad, right now in the current climate, I'll just say this diplomatically.
Uh-oh.
You always get me on that.
By the way, folks, if you're ever talking to Jeff in real life, I'm fixing to give a tale because it just tickles me so much. If you've ever seen Talladega Nights with Ricky Bobby, one of the most iconic characters in the history of film, he goes to his team owner and he says, Mr. So-and-so, with all due respect, there's a comma, and everything that comes after the comma is just shit on your head. In real life, if Jeff Jarrett ever says to you in conversation, well, Conrad, diplomatically, let's get ready, because he's got a shovel in his hand, and it's coming in somebody's direction. So it just tickles me whenever Jeff says, well, Conrad, in today's climate, diplomatically, I'm like, here we go.
No, but what I was going to say is, now, I'm all for, look, because I have from creative rooms to characters and everything, I love entertainment, getting outside the box, stretching everyone's imagination, all in the name of entertainment. I get that. But let's just say last night, Conrad, the threads and the shreds and the perceptions and everything that went with it is all based on reality. Like, oh my God, I never thought I would ever. That's real. I mean, hey man, you can talk about this, this, and this, but that stuff, that's real, right, Conrad? So that's real. Paul Bearer, in his former life, I love me and Moody, I always called him Percy Pringle. We got to know each other in Texas in 1988. Buddies, and used to laugh and shut up. And I would love to be engaged with him and all that kind of stuff. But And the Attitude Era, numbers speak for themselves. But when you get down to the level of embalming Stone Cold, he's just kind of stretching the limits and kind of, I just think, getting way out of bounds. And Conrad, you just kind of admitted, you were like, enough's enough. I mean, I think the magic of Stone Cold and Mr. McMahon were the whole world knew that Vince owned the WWE. He's welcome to WrestleMania starting in '83. And so here's the real boss, and he's a New Yorker, and I wouldn't say pompous and arrogant because he was playing the play-by-play character and everything with it. When he became the evil Mr. McMahon, and he had the hard-working, blue-collar, beer-drinking dude, Stone Cold, everybody was actually related. He lived vicariously through both characters. When you get into the embalming, Undertaker and Stone Cold, you just kind of lost that sense of reality. Again, and who am I to throw shade on an angle that may or may not get out of bounds? But I think you are probably accurate, like a lot of folks, that it just carried it a little bit too far. Not saying it didn't do great numbers on pay-per-views or ratings, but the embalming angle might have kind of pushed the envelope in the wrong way just a little bit.
Maybe you're going to make the trip across the pond for the Capital Carnage pay-per-view. Triple H is back. You're going to be taking him on with China at ringside. You guys go about 7 minutes. Hunter gets the win. Deborah's going to try to help and tease Hunter, but China takes the chair away from you. Hunter hits you with the pedigree. 1, 2, 3. Any memories of working these UK-only pay-per-views? Because this feels like it was a mad dash to get back in time for Monday Night Raw.
It was quick, and the match was quick, and I wanted to go longer, but it was timing of the show. It's one of those deals that I would have liked to have. No, I'm not saying should have or could have. I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking, I think me and old Triple H could have torn the house down if we'd let us go 15 or 20. But when you do a 7-8 minute match, it's you got to do this, segue to this, get to the finish, go home. But it was, for what it was, I thought it was very good. But just not enough time to really develop a rhythm. And both of us, I think both of our styles, that once you kind of get into past 12, then really in our element of being able to tell a story in a match.
The day after Sunday Night Heat airs, you're going to be taking on Mark Henry with his new sexual chocolate gimmick. Now he's obsessed with Deborah. Of course, this match ends with a guitar shot, but this time it's D'Lo hitting you with a guitar. We never talked about this before, but I know, like, if Hulk Hogan's coming out to the ring and tearing off a T-shirt, he's just getting that from the merch stand. Or he's having a runner go grab it, no big deal. But these guitars, is WWE supplying these for you? Is that something out of their props department, or is that something that you've got to go find a guy and you're coming out of pocket?
No. It was WWE, and it's funny how it's evolved through the years. But this was specifically in this time. It was funny because remember the Double J character and the lighted up hat and the lighted up outfit. Obviously, I got to know scenic and props and the people in those departments very well, but literally from almost day one with the Double J character. And now here we are with the guitar, and it was something that, in those days it was, and I know Honky Tonk had used it, I'll call it sparingly, but we'll call it late 90s, it was, oh yeah, let's use the guitar. Well, once we got to a point, we always had a guitar ready, but there were several Monday nights that they would have to literally go to a pawn shop that day, and that's what they did, and find a guitar and bring it back and fix it all up. Some were fixed better than others, and it was the Wild Wild West in a lot of ways, but interesting.
What was the worst guitar shot you took? Not gave, but took.
Worst guitar shot that I took?
Yep.
I took a guitar Guitar Shot in Canada, WCW. And I went back to the room and my neck had locked up. But I think it was more on the bump that I took. He gave me that. Maybe trying to think, but the worst guitar shot. Oh no! Shoot, what am I thinking? Conrad, right out there, my room, right off next to this, L.A. Park in Mexico. I got about a 2 to 3 inch scar on the top of my head. Laid me wide open, as Mick Foley would say. How did you say it, Conrad? Busted wide open. Yeah, L.A. Park, by far.
There's a story in the Montreal Gazette in this era talking to you and about your run on guitars. And according to the story, they're unstrung guitars with minor structural changes, not to lessen the concussive force, but to make louder kabooms. Now, I understand that might be something we talk about here on a podcast, but how the shit did the Montreal Gazette know that in 1998?
And their quote was, not lessen the concussion.
Yeah, like, I guess it's not supposed to lessen the glow, it's to make a louder noise. But I'm like, what?
So maybe he's a fan and dressing it up, or he's not a fan and trying to make us look barbaric. But
I mean, seriously, like, I just found that odd. Like, wait a minute, why would we go to a newspaper and tell our magic tricks?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I have no idea. It doesn't say where he got that from.
No. I'll tell you what, though. Something else that doesn't make sense. Cold turkey may be great on sandwiches. Jeff will never know. He doesn't cook a turkey. But there's a better way to break your bad habits. We're not talking about some crazy mind voodoo from old Dave Meltzer or anybody from the Montreal Gazette. No, we're talking about our sponsor, Fume. You see, they look at the problem in a different way. Not everything in a bad habit is wrong. So maybe if there was drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove, like, the bad from your habit? Well, Fume is an innovative, award-winning flavored air device that does just that. See, instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses delicious flavors. You get it. Instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a habit you're free to enjoy, and it makes replacing your bad habit easy. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial, and it's designed with removable parts and magnets for your fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing and anxiety while breaking your habit. And my wife was absolutely blown away with the taste. It was way fresher and flavorful than she ever thought. She loves the crisp mint. You might like the white cranberry, the maple pepper, the orange vanilla. They got something for everybody. How about raspberry lemon or sparkling grapefruit? Try them all. Think of it as like refreshing herbal tea. If vapor was compared to sticky soda, Fume flavors would compare to herbal tea. Not as sweet and a lot more natural. It's very well weighted. It's perfectly balanced. It's extremely fun to fidget with. It's made of beautiful wood. It's a cool shape. You're going to feel cool using it. And you got to try the new Solo No. Solo No is made with a premium walnut barrel, and it's got an onyx-coated mouthpiece, and it has a slightly softer finish. I think you'll dig it. Start the holidays off right with the good habit by going to tryfume.com/Jarrett and getting the journey pack today. Fume is giving listeners of this show 20% off until December 1st when they use the code Jarrett to help make the good habit that much easier. That's tryfume.com/Jarrett. Be sure to use the code Jarrett.
target-rich environment.
That's G-A-R-R. Aha. E-double-T. Oh. Hey, so after your match with Mark Henry, Goldust is going to... Go ahead.
I said, not bad. J-A-R-R-E-double-T.
We all take on different roles every day. 1 minute you're a parent, the next a chef, or a driver. That's why the Volvo XC40 Recharge is designed for every you. With a range of up to 293 miles. Contact your local retailer to learn more or visit volvocars.com/US. The Volvo XC40 Recharge. Range based on EPA estimate, your range may vary. See volvocars.com/US for more details.
Mark Henry, after your match with him, Goldust comes out, challenges you to a match at the next pay-per-view, Rock Bottom. If you win, Goldust has to get naked. I don't know why. That feels like a bet me and Abyss would make about the Bengals, but if Goldust wins, Deborah has to strip naked. And you accept. So now this is, I believe, and again, I didn't see all of your USWA stuff, all your Memphis stuff. Is this the first time you remember wrestling in a loser gets naked match?
I believe this is right up there, a first for me. I kind of at reading the notes. I remember having the conversation. I'm like,
how do we pay this off?
Wait, yeah, and I'm thinking, if I win, like, if us wanting to see Goldust naked, is that like an incentive for me to win?
That's what I was wondering. Like, wouldn't you just throw the match intentionally? I don't understand.
I mean, I don't. The step, but and look, this is straight out of Attitude Era. Okay, we're not going to worry about that side of it. We just want the people to say Jeff's going to get beat, and when he gets,
we want to see Deborah naked.
That's it. I mean, just kind of that cut and dried. But that's a head scratcher. Going into the match, I'm like, now wait a minute.
These days, I'm hoping that, you know, somebody in the office over there, maybe Will Washington's listening to the show, and he will find a way to get a loser gets naked match with you, and the world can finally see the angle of your dangle. I mean, my goodness. Raw the next night has you taking on D'Lo, and Earl Hebner is even distracted by Deborah. That's right. The referee is distracted by Deborah. And Goldust comes out wearing nothing but a trench coat and a wig. He's going to flash Deborah, show off the angle of his dangle. And D'Lo takes advantage, rolls you up for the win. So, of course, during Goldust match with Owen, Deborah comes out with a trench coat, flashes Goldust. Owen rolls him up for the 3 count. We're doing flashing angles, Jeff. Flashing angles.
You know who's to blame for all of this?
I think you personally.
No. Our boy, our
Vince Russo, come on.
No. Well, hold on. If you really want to roll the things back, that our man Road Dogg Jesse James.
He liked this.
No, he's the one who, and Lawler, when I say pardon the pun, pounced on it. I mean, he pounced on it. But Brian said something. Yeah, he named it, and Lawler took off with it. And you know, that's where, you know, you talk about JR and the King and different, you know, Vince and Jesse or Gorilla and Bobby, just kind of that tandem and all that. But when you go back and hear sound bites, you'll see them, you know, at My World Pod when they post clips or just different ones. When you kind of hear Lawler being the adolescent voice type deal, all that, but JR's kind of dismissive. Oh, come on, Jerry. I mean, he's so, to me, reminiscent of Lance Russell, but so real. Like, JR is almost embarrassed that Lawler's saying that, which, of course, gets it over. You know. But, yeah, we're doing the flashing angles. We're red hot 98.
Well, we're not done. Before we talk about that match from Rock Bottom, there's a lot of great matches.
Easy.
That's Inside Baseball, Daddy. There was a Raw where The Undertaker is going to put Stone Cold on what Michael Cole would call the symbol. Now, they would say it's not a cross. If you grew up going to a Baptist church like Jeff and I did when we were young, they say to ourselves, self, looks like there's some imagery there that resembles the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. They even pull him up in the air. They're all trying to establish the buried alive match at pay-per-view again. Wow. Of all the bad ideas in the Attitude Era, and on this very show, we've talked about loser gets naked, and a couple of dudes threatening to embalm another dude. Now we're putting them up on the symbol. Now, you told the story last week on the show where you would find yourself in church having to try to defend some of the programming to folks that you went to church with. And I get that. Because once upon a time, and the WWF was for kids. Like, my parents would pop in a VHS tape of WrestleMania 4, and that was my babysitter for a few hours. Well, this is a different product. And maybe not everybody got the memo. But as a person who grew up in the church, what did you think of Stone Cold on a symbol?
It goes into what I touched on last week, and that is where being taught day one, this is a business, this is an industry. Yes, we're a hybrid. We're not all sport. We're not all entertainment. We're a hybrid. But at the end of the day, folks, this is entertainment. Just like Vince told the New Jersey government so he wouldn't have to pay pay-per-view taxes. This is not a sporting event. I always understood it in that context. That is the storyline getting into blasphemy and all that, but it's a story. If you preface it by saying, okay, this is the type of programming we're creating, that it is a story, and I looked at it as such, that it's not for everybody. As the years have gone on and how content is produced, not just wrestling content, just content that, the old saying, my grandmother never ever discussed politics, religion, and wrestling. There's no argument about wrestling, whether it's real or not. You can't win in that discussion. When you discuss politics, you alienate part of your audience. When you discuss religion, you alienate part of your audience. I think this would go into that bucket of, you're going to tread into this, just be prepared. Some people are going to be offended by it. There's always that argument, oh, they wouldn't come around to begin with. That's subjective.
It is an interesting thing to look at and wonder if it's polarizing or not. You sort of drilled it into everybody's head here on the program, mine maybe most of all, that creative is subjective. I don't know how subjective we can be about your next paper. The Rock Bottom show, we go 8 minutes and 2 seconds. It's only Goldust, and Meltzer's write-up, kind of funny. Actually, this match had a lot of heat, which just shows how much everyone wanted to see Deborah McMichael naked. I think the only way a match between these two could get over is to promise 17,000 males they'll see a beauty pageant winner naked at the end. But it was a good match. Goldust used the curtain call on Jarrett, but Deborah distracted the ref. Fans were really into Goldust near falls. I wonder why. Goldust set up Shattered Dreams. Deborah got in the ring and started caressing his butt. Of course, he didn't care, which I guess proves he was gay all along. Jarrett took the low blow, but Deborah broke the guitar over Goldust's head, and Jarrett scored the pin with a reverse Russian leg sweep. Shawn Michaels came out after the match, and although he plays heel, he said he saw Deborah interfere, reversed the decision, and ordered Deborah to strip. She played it up for all she could. I'm not sure this is what they were teaching here to win all those beauty pageants. Then again, Shawn put $20 down her top. She stripped down to a thong bikini underwear. They were very careful to only show shots from the front. Teased taking off her top, which she eventually did, but before anything was visible, Jarrett in the blue blazer covered her up and dragged her away. Even so, now Deborah is over like a big dog, although dog is the least applicable description. I can just see it in 3 weeks that Jeff Jarrett is going to have all the charisma in the world in his ring intro, 2.5 stars. this is one of the only times that I think this has been the case for you where your valet, for lack of a better word, is really the focus and the center of attention. I mean, listen, you sort of joked with Cody before that maybe, Jay Lethal is his heater. But my goodness, what in the moment, take me through, are you happy with this? I mean, it's clearly working. You're getting a crowd reaction. But just knowing you as the performer, I think I know. I wonder, how do you reconcile all that? Like, wow, man, this is what they're really cheering for? This is what we're doing? What do you think of that?
I'm reloading. I had a conversation with the chairman about midway through this that was kind of just focused on this. That, and when you really look at this, Conrad, now 26 years later, whatever it may be, but look at the psychology that, we'll just call it, in wrestling terms, Deborah was a babyface and I was heel, right? I won matches by using her assets, if you will, strategically and however you may do it. And as we started building, and me being, don't you dare do this, and cover it up, and Owen or Blue Blazer or both of us, however it was, covering them up, and which you get a ton of heat. To me, it was, okay, I'm going to adjust from the Double J character, and now Brian got this thing up and running, and Lawler took off with it. And if you go back, and this is something that maybe this is for next week, but if you broke down the quarter hours during this run, our quarter hours were always super successful. And I really think that it was an entertainment package, that this was building the Jeff character as the character that we moved into. Had I not done this, how hot would the China angle be? Is kind of what I'm trying to do. Is that it laid the foundation that I, as a character, I want to make sure I say that over and over. I believe women should be, the old saying, barefoot, pregnant, stuck in a bunch, that type deal. But this was the whole groundwork, and I understood the method to the madness that, okay, because I was getting a ton of heat out of it. Every time I went